Hello, dear viewers, and welcome back to the channel, where we delve deeply into the unfolding dramas and complex realities of the British royal family. Today, we turn our attention to a development shaking the very core of the House of Windsor, the increasingly precarious situation surrounding Sarah Ferguson, the Duchess of York, and her former husband, Prince Andrew. Royal insiders describe it as nothing short of a looming crisis, a collision of financial collapse, commercial disaster, and potential legal jeopardy that now threatens to engulf both the Duke and Duchess of York. If you appreciate in-depth, factual reporting on royal affairs, please take a moment to like this video and subscribe so you never miss our upcoming detailed updates. At the heart of today's report is Sarah Ferguson, affectionately known as Fergie, who has recently faced the painful consequence of losing her remaining royal title. But that symbolic loss is minor compared to the much graver challenges now emerging on her horizon. Sources reveal that Ferguson has been privately warned about the formidable troubles ahead, troubles deeply rooted in her long and controversial association with Jeffrey Epstein, the convicted sex offender whose scandal continues to cast a dark shadow over royal circles. In a most unusual arrangement that has long fascinated observers, the Duchess continues to live at the Royal Lodge in Windsor, alongside her ex-husband Prince Andrew. Once considered an eccentric sign of their lasting friendship, their cohabitation is now being viewed as a desperate act of mutual dependency. Insiders claim that if Ferguson becomes the subject of a renewed police inquiry linked to the Epstein affair, she may have little choice but to seek the protection and influence of Prince Andrew himself. Those close to the royal household suggest that Fergie is in deep water, struggling to secure her financial future after a devastating public fall from grace and the collapse of her commercial ventures. The Royal Lodge itself, set amid the serene grounds of Windsor Great Park, has now become a flashpoint of royal tension. Reliable reports indicate that Prince William, the future king, is seriously considering the drastic step of evicting both Andrew and Sarah from the lavish residence. According to insiders, this decision is driven by one overriding concern: to shield the monarchy from lasting damage caused by the lingering Epstein scandal, and to preserve the institution's reputation for the next generation. Meanwhile, financial pressures on the former couple are reaching critical levels. The enormous costs of maintaining Royal Lodge, coupled with their personal living expenses, are said to be causing significant strain between them. This mounting stress has only worsened since King Charles III decisively cut them off from royal financial support, a clear signal that both Andrew and Sarah have been officially sidelined and left to fend for themselves. But the crisis does not stop there. Prince Andrew now faces the unprecedented prospect of becoming the first senior royal in over 2 decades to be caught up in an official criminal investigation. Scotland Yard, the Metropolitan Police Service, has confirmed it is actively examining allegations that the Duke of York asked a police officer to illegally obtain compromising information about Virginia Giuffre, one of Epstein's most prominent accusers. Virginia Giuffre, as many of you know, remains the central figure in the vast and deeply troubling Epstein scandal, her accusations having inflicted lasting and irreversible damage on Prince Andrew's reputation. Now, with Scotland Yard's investigation underway, the potential consequences are enormous. Should this inquiry evolve into formal charges or even a sustained public probe, the Duke of York could face the most severe and enduring repercussions imaginable. The intertwined destinies of Prince Andrew and Sarah Ferguson are becoming tragically apparent. A well-placed royal source confided to the Daily Mail, "Fergie will say anything to save her own skin, but her fate is inextricably linked to that of her ex-husband." This paints a stark picture: a desperate, high-stakes game of survival where both are maneuvering through collapsing personal and financial circumstances, yet remain bound together by shared history and scandal. For Sarah Ferguson, the professional fallout has been swift and devastating. Her once thriving career as a children's author, built carefully over decades, is now, as one observer put it, going down the pan. Critics have raised a painful but unavoidable question: how can someone who remained friends with and financially benefited from a convicted pedophile credibly present herself as a voice for children? The implications are unmistakable. This scandal has not only obliterated her standing in the literary world, but has also effectively closed the door on nearly every commercial avenue she might have turned to for financial security. The gravity of her predicament deepened further after it was revealed that Jeffrey Epstein had secretly financed Ferguson's lifestyle for a staggering 15 years. This long-running clandestine support explains the intense public suspicion surrounding her recent ventures, and why her capacity to earn an honest living has all but vanished. Given the magnitude of their shared financial and reputational peril, insiders suggest that both Fergie and Andrew are now reluctantly dependent on one another once again. A royal insider told the Daily Mail, "It's likely that she and Andrew will need each other more than ever, though much will depend on their individual finances." This uneasy alliance rests on a fragile balance, one that could fracture if either fails to shoulder their share of the financial burden. The same insider added another revealing detail. "I strongly suspect Andrew has trust funds and investments that allow him to remain at Royal Lodge, but if he's relying on Fergie's income to pay the bills, that could easily become a source of serious conflict. If true, it exposes a disturbing dynamic. Despite his inherited wealth, Prince Andrew may be partially dependent on the unstable and dwindling income of Sarah Ferguson, a situation that could quickly spiral into resentment and division. What's even more alarming is the potential involvement of their daughters, Princess Beatrice and Princess Eugenie. Insiders fear that with King Charles's financial sanctions cutting off support completely, Andrew and Sarah could soon face the ultimate embarrassment, turning to their own children for financial rescue. The prospect of the princesses who have worked hard to establish independent, scandal-free lives, having to bail out their disgraced parents, both ostracized due to their ties to Jeffrey Epstein, is profoundly damaging to the royal family's public image. Adding to the growing sense of unease surrounding the York family, royal biographer Andrew Loney has issued a grim forecast. Known for his meticulous and often controversial insights into the monarchy, Loney believes the recent revelations are merely the beginning, the surface of a much deeper scandal. He predicts that far more damning details will emerge about Prince Andrew's alleged ties to Virginia Giuffre. His warning is chilling. This is only the beginning for the York family. To understand the gravity of what's unfolding, we must reflect on Royal Lodge, not just as a residence, but as a symbol. It represents the Yorks' past prestige and their last fragile connection to the Windsor estate. This grand historic property carries immense upkeep costs, and while Andrew and Fergie have invested heavily in its restoration, the absence of financial backing from the king renders those expenses overwhelming. Prince William's reported consideration of eviction is no mere administrative move. It's a calculated act of royal strategy, a deliberate attempt to purge the institution of the toxicity surrounding the Duke and Duchess of York, and to preserve what remains of the monarchy's moral authority. For William, the survival and integrity of the crown outweigh any personal loyalty to his uncle and aunt. King Charles's decision to cut off financial support, though severe, was seen as essential. The Epstein connection had inflicted irreparable damage, and distancing the working monarchy from the Yorks was viewed as a necessary line in the sand. Yet, ironically, that very act of separation has driven Andrew and Sarah into a deeper dependency on each other, and on the few dwindling resources still available to them. The psychological strain on Sarah Ferguson must be immense. Once a global media darling, she now finds herself cornered by scandal, stripped of financial security, and facing public and legal scrutiny. Her desperate efforts to protect herself, as one insider put it, "She'll say anything to save her own skin," speak volumes about the perilous situation she's in. For Fergie, this is not just about reputation. It's about survival, financial, personal, and possibly legal. Perhaps the most alarming development is the reported police probe into Prince Andrew over alleged attempts to undermine Virginia Giuffre. If Scotland Yard were to confirm that a senior royal figure interfered with evidence or witnesses in a global sex trafficking case, the consequences would be catastrophic. It would not only validate public suspicion, but could expose the Duke to direct criminal jeopardy, with potentially devastating legal outcomes. And this brings us back to the central, tragic bond between Andrew and Fergie. Her future, by all accounts, remains tethered to his. Should Andrew fall, the entire support structure, shielding her at Royal Lodge, could collapse overnight. That possibility casts a harsh light on the predicament facing their daughters, Princess Beatrice and Princess Eugenie. Both have worked hard to lead independent, respectable lives beyond royal scandal. Yet the notion that they might be forced to financially rescue their parents, the very figures who were cut off due to the Epstein affair, would be a devastating blow. It underscores not only the personal toll of this scandal, but also the generational cost of reputational failure within the royal family. As Andrew Loney warned, this is only the beginning. The York family may be standing at the edge of a prolonged storm, one that threatens to unravel what remains of their dignity, their stability, and their place within the House of Windsor. Public curiosity surrounding the full scope of the Epstein network and its unsettling royal connections remains intense. As legal and investigative proceedings continue, the potential for even more damaging revelations grows stronger by the day, ensuring that the York family remains under relentless, unforgiving scrutiny. In summary, the Duke and Duchess of York now face a triple crisis. First, the looming legal shadow of Scotland Yard's active probe into Prince Andrew II, the imminent threat of eviction from Royal Lodge, a move reportedly championed by Prince William, and third, a spiraling financial catastrophe triggered by King Charles's withdrawal of royal support and the collapse of Sarah Ferguson's commercial ventures. What was once a voluntary cohabitation between the former couple has now become a matter of survival. Yet beneath the same roof, mounting bills, widening financial disparities, and unbearable pressure threatened to turn their uneasy partnership into a new battlefield. But this story is no longer just royal gossip. It has become a defining moment for the modern British monarchy, as the institution strives to prove its integrity and accountability in the wake of scandal. The handling of the York situation will serve as a powerful litmus test of its moral credibility. The coming months, and the decisions surrounding Royal Lodge, will shape not only the fate of Prince Andrew and Sarah Ferguson, but also the public's perception of the crown itself. Now, we'd love to hear your perspective. Do you believe Prince William is right to pursue the eviction of Andrew and Fergie from Royal Lodge as a means of protecting the monarchy's future? And what are your thoughts on Sarah Ferguson's chances of rebuilding her career and reputation after this devastating fall from grace? Share your opinions in the comments below. We read every one of them. Thank you for joining us for this deep dive into the unfolding crisis surrounding the Duke and Duchess of York. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and turn on notifications so you never miss our next royal update.